All systems go. Clear for liftoff. What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, aka ToeTagginTambo, back for another edition of the Showdown Show here on a Thursday night. We've got Seattle at Arizona. We've got Hoop. We've got Title. We've got myself. And we got a bunch of people that probably, hopefully, by now know what a thumbs up button is. So do us a favor on the way in. Smash the like. We've got two Golden SHIPIT announcements today. Two big winners coming up. The head-to-head with Hoopster. And then the share ship this week playing in the 333 Wildcat with $250K up top. Hoop, I'm going to start with you, man. You got the best of us. The last show was Detroit at Baltimore. The reverse line movement, we were talking about it, just kept going and going. And then next thing you know, Detroit comes in and gets the job done. And Title and I were wrong. We like those Ravens. I still think they look so good, yet they did not come through or look good in the finish of that game. So what's your thoughts, man? How you doing?
I think I might have been more wrong than you guys on the game. Like, I was fully against my Lions on Monday, and they obviously pleasantly surprised. I mean, I fully wrote them off after week one, and I'm going to obviously at this point, it definitely looked like a donkey because they bounced back nicely. And that was a hell of I mean, they could have won that game by 3 touchdowns. I mean, that's how much they dominated that game. I mean, the Lions looked absolutely phenomenal. I mean, and I was not expecting that at all. They won in every single facet of the game. Ravens defense looked like complete shit, and one of very few defenses to keep Lamar in check. Lamar couldn't do anything. Like, he barely broke away. So you definitely got to give credit to the Lions in that game. I was definitely wrong, and obviously gonna have to take an L here at some point, because that's a big boy win, regular season win, Monday Night Football in Baltimore, big time underdogs. They got the job done. I don't think Baltimore's dead by any stretch of the imagination, but it's pretty crazy that either the Ravens or the Chiefs are going to be like 1-3 after this week, which is pretty wild. So that'll be a good game on the main slate. So yeah, we'll see. This game tonight, close spread. We have some options. We're going to talk through it all, but one thing I definitely got to address is the SHIPIT games head-to-head stuff, because I mean, I set the over-under at 9.5 wins for me, extended to 3-0, boys. Like, someone's got to bring it. And last week was pretty close. I got to give my guys some credit. It was close. I think I only won by 3. McCaffrey got there at the end with some of those dump offs, but he was beating me for a while. But what do they say? The cream kind of always rises to the top, and 3-0, looking to go 4-0. So whoever gets drawn for that one, you got to do some research and put in some work, because you can't let me go 4-0.
Yeah, Coach Sav came through with the $2, said smash the like. That's what we like, just to get up on the screen. You put the couple dollars in there. We appreciate it, but mainly letting everybody know, smash the like button on the way in. I lost it all. The chat's asking about the shelves. Yeah, lost it all on the Ravens, man. The Lions came through. I had to sell all my shit. We're on to the next one. But Title, I'll bring you in, man. Obviously, people know about Tambo HQ. We're moving in. That's what's going on. So my dad's coming by tonight. We're going to get this stuff moved across, but excited for that. Title, what's happening, man? How you doing?
I lost it all too. Justice Hill. I mean, man, it was crazy how the world works. I mean, we literally talked about not looking at your phone, not sweating games if you can't handle it. And I was on a plane, but yeah, close to 214 big ones. But yeah, we're on it today. No one cares.
Did they tell you in the Discord? I didn't want to be like mean about it, the truth, but this might be common for you. Is like any check down. It wasn't just that he got the first. It was only like a point behind you. So if he gets the check down, you got hurt. But what made
fourth and 10, right? If Justice Hill gets tackled, 4th and 10 is stop, I win, right?
I don't think my rendition of it, what I saw was, because I checked right away, I was excited, but I'm now, me, I'm the guy that leaves it till the very end. It's like, I think it was 3rd and 26, wasn't it?
It was 3rd and 26. Deep. Justice Hill got to 4th and 10, 4th and 9, which is less than 25 of a point.
I think the catch and run alone was going to be good, because I think they were only like 1.1 behind.
But it wasn't Justice Hill, though. It wasn't Justice Hill.
It was Lamar, which is less than
it was Lamar. It was the Lamar touchdown after that put it. The Chasers didn't have Justice Hill. The Chasers had Lamar. It needed the touchdown at the end. He was clean up until.
If they get a stop on 4th,
bought it, I saw 46K up top right after that. And I was like, oh, fuck. Because they were.
Well, that makes me feel a lot better because then a different lineup would have passed me then.
Yeah, Andrew's TD busted it all wide open,
For
but
sure.
Title's saying the proof of if he had got there without the stupid Justice Hill shit at the end. But yeah, there was a 46K.
Okay, well, you made me feel so much better.
I want to make you feel better. There was a 46K if people weren't following.
All right, thank you. I was tilted about the tackle. I was on a plane. I was asleep. Just crazy how the world works. It's like, don't look at your phone. We've done this for if you can't handle it, very rare can you win that much money up top. But when I saw the 3 people, because then I had to go rewatch it, someone tagged me, and then 3 guys couldn't tackle Justice Hill. So then I was doing the math there. But you made me feel so much better.
Yeah. Got to take care of my boy. There'll be another one. Like we said, we got a long season to ship more, but obviously would have been incredible. That's why we play the game. That's the type of lineups we want to get up top. That's what this show is all about. So let's try and help you guys get to the top with your stuff tonight. We're going to talk process. We're going to bring up Saber Sim, going to go through it all. Title, I'm going to actually stay with you. Definitely an interesting slate here. What is your sort of grand scheme overview on this battle? Seattle at the Cardinals. Each team has, 21, 22 is not the biggest total, but we've seen these games go 2 different ways, right? Really low scoring or just start going back and forth and speed up quick. And there is some guys on these teams that can make that happen. What's your first thoughts on this game as a whole?
Yeah, division game, short week, great division. Both teams 2-1. The whole Rams are 2-1. Niners are 3-0. James Conner, brutal injury shot. Brutal for him. Hopefully he recovers. Trey Benson now will be the starting running back for the Cardinals. I always like the Kyler Murray slates because he's like the Dollar Tree version of Lamar, Josh Allen, just in the sense of he can get there with his legs, and you can do a lot of things different when you play him captain or you do stuff that way. Charbonnet will be back. We saw a big game from Kenneth Walker last week. I think there's a lot of good options, though. There's a lot of viable captain options, and I think you can even maybe go down, not low, but maybe a Greg Dortch of the world, a Cooper Kupp of the world, Charbonnet. I don't know. Do I love it? No, but looking at these captain percentages right now, like we talked about the Montgomery stuff and little things that way, you can leave money on the table and you can get to some of these all I hear is Trey McBride or a Kyler Murray or stuff like that. But it is looking like captain ownership's getting spread out a decent bit, which is always what I like to see.
Yeah, it's good for a slate like tonight. I really like this slate just based on how it sets up some of the injury stuff. And then also the pricing, it has just stayed the same way. I know not everybody loves that hoop because you've talked about it for years. And obviously it's usually at the start of the season when you see it the most because they're trying to fill up these all-star, get these all-star lineups to fill up these big tournaments that they're putting out there. But again, tonight, $20 on DraftKings, $500K up top, and the pricing is set for, you can get Kyler at captain for 16-2 if you want to get there. If he's your guy, so it doesn't have to be, but just noting it, you can kind of do whatever you want. Jackson Smith and Jigba, he's 16-5 up top, probably get some of the steam and whatnot as well. But what are you seeing for your grand scheme overview? And then maybe you can start working on Saber Sim and bringing that up. We can start from there.
Yeah, it's going to be relatively condensed in terms of ownership at the captain position. And I do struggle with some of these outside guys that we'll discuss in the captain spot. It's 2 teams that their offense is already pretty consolidated in terms of where they go. And I don't know. I struggle to find upside in a lot of guys on the slate. So we'll talk through it all. But the 4 are definitely McBride, Benson, Smith, and Jigba, and then Kyler Murray. I'm assuming get a majority of it. With the running backs for Seattle, it's tough now that Charbonnet is likely back. I don't know if they fully announced that, but it seems he's practiced in full all week. Officially listed as questionable. Have to imagine he plays, and they probably go back to more of a 50-50 thing. And, I guess he has a relatively cheap price tag at 54, but Kenneth Walker has an expensive price tag at 10-4. So it's pretty tough with those guys likely splitting carries, outside of Trey McBride, which pass catcher on the Cardinals can really have a ceiling game. It makes it pretty difficult for me personally at the captain spot. A little bit different, I would say, on FanDuel, where the quarterbacks have more of an advantage. I think you can bring the Sam Darnolds of the world back into the conversation a little bit. And I don't know, there's not a ton of cheap, viable value plays on the slate either. So I think it's a little bit tricky when it comes to that. So yeah, it's a good one. So it could be for me where I go pretty condensed at captain and then condense with my player pool as well and just eliminate some of these fringe plays that I just don't really see getting there. So kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I think you leave a bunch of salary on the table tonight. That's the most clear piece for me, is like just looking at it, it just doesn't matter because it's what you said. Like even if you went to, let's say, a Cooper Kupp and you want to put him up top, he's showing much like really low ownership up there right now, like you talked about, because the other guys that are there, he would be able to let you fit in a bunch of these other dudes. But then there's the situational stuff of, do you want Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet back, all that sort of stuff? And then do you really need to put Darnold into your lineup? So Title, I'll kick it to you for the captain thoughts. Before I kick it to you, I will say Michael Peterson, we are going to announce the head-to-head winner for this week soon. I don't think it's Michael Peterson we drew it before we came on, but he says from one mic to another, you will be saying well done to something else besides your steak choice after I beat you. So come with the one-liners too. Got to love that. And the show knowledge of how you do your steak. So got to appreciate Michael Peterson.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great comment there.
Shout out to Richard. $5 into 3,200. That's quite the day.
Beauty. He said, need to get a SHIPIT logo? SHIPITNation.com/logos gets you involved in the winner's circle too if you're a SHIPIT/SaberSim member. But if not, we appreciate you repping the brand, and that's amazing ROI. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I wish I had it in the big one or whatever. $5 to 3,240. That's insane return. And now you can go do your thing, get another one done, and maybe you win even more. So congrats to you. Go ahead, Title.
Yeah. I know I think I'm going to be pretty spread out in the sense of like, of course I like JSN. He's shown to be the highest. With all that being said though, right now we currently don't have anyone projected over 20%. When you add up the 4 highest owned, what we have, JSN, Trey McBride, Benson, Kyler, we're sitting at like 55% ownership. So if you really want to just jam those 4, you can clearly get overweight on all 4 of those clearly. I won't be taking that approach. I like JSN. I like Kyler, my 2 clear favorites. JSN's target share has been insane this year. Always open, it feels like. Again, I mentioned the thing with Kyler, just his legs. He can get there in so many ways. You can play him in so many ways when you play him at captain. You want to play 3 receivers, 2 receivers, just 1 pass catcher. So I like a lot of that stuff. I'm seeing Kenneth Walker, 5%. We have him at captain ownership. I mean, Charbonnet was like he didn't play last week for a reason. He's probably a little banged up. He's going to play today, but Kenneth looked great. If we're seeing 5% ownership for a guy like him, let me pull up the touchdown prop quick. It's the second best on the slate, plus 115, Trey Benson, plus 110. So that was a spot that stood out to me. And when you play a Kenneth Walker, you can play like a Seattle defense, maybe low owned to get after Kyler. You can play under game. Maybe it slows it down. I like Kenneth at that ownership quite a bit. Trey Benson too. Now he is definitely getting some, but a starting running back now that can catch passes out of the backfield. I assume Kyler's going to probably dump it down and rely on him quite a bit. Again, plus 110 to score the best in the game. I like both the running backs. Kyler, JSN is my favorite. I do like Trey McBride. I am worried if one guy did get a little steam, it could be him. Nothing bad to say. One of the best tight ends in football. Yeah, really nothing bad at all. Greg Dortch is the one that I got some interest in. If I am going cheap at captain, I have interest in the flex as well, but only 4,800 when you play him. When Greg Dortch is on the field, this dude just made plays for years. Slot guy. Kyler likes him. You can get like a quick 5-yard hitch. He can run after the catch. No Zay Jones in this game, so that's going to open up a good amount more snaps for Greg Dortch. I'm in on Greg Dortch captain teams. I'm in on Greg Dortch in the flex. He is one of my favorite value pieces on the slate. I don't know how much I love Marv. I'm fine with it. The Cooper Kupps, those 2 I just like never play on main slates. I mean, Marv has had multiple opportunities to absolutely nuke slates this year. I know Kyler missed him on one really long touchdown. I think it was week 2. He had a solid week 1. Cooper Kupp, the targets really haven't been there much, but I'm indifferent to Kupp Marv. I'm going to let you guys talk about them. Charbonnet is the one I've been going back and forth on just because I mentioned I like Kenneth Walker, but Charb is only 5.4K really cheap, only projecting 4% owned at the captain position. And he's plus 205 to score. So I am more interested in these cheap captains and mainly just Dortch Charbonnet than I have been on most slates, though, because I wouldn't be shocked, I guess, if no player scored over 21 DK points on this slate, like 43.5 total, division game. It could play uglier. And if that's the case and Sharp gets like 60 on the ground for a touchdown, that could be enough to get like just jamming studs up top. So I'm going to be more spread out at the captain position.
Yeah, I like that. Got to say what up to my guy, Kenny Z. Got to meet this guy in Boston when Rio sent me out for his Fantasy Baseball World Championship +1. And Kenny Z's the man. Got to meet him and some of his family down there. So got a shout out to him. Our other guy, Kenny W., been with us for a long time, says he's very tough click for team watch the tape, folks. He looked so bad against the Saints. But the thing is, a lot of people are watch the highlight, folks. And what they would see is Kenneth Walker jamming into the end zone, regardless of how it happened or how he got
I
there.
disagree a little bit. I don't know. I think he had some pretty tough runs. It didn't start good, but he ran hard, in my opinion. So I got to disagree with my man Kenny a little bit.
I'm going to disagree with you, and I'm going with Kenny because I watched the majority of that game, and he did look bad. I mean, yeah, you can run hard, but if your ass ain't going anywhere, it doesn't matter how hard you run.
I mean, he got hit at the line of scrimmage a lot. He carried some dudes on his back. I disagree with the both of you.
Yeah, I'm indifferent.
He does run hard.
Like Walker, I'm not too sure. I think he was fine. Obviously, playing him last week, I think was fine. People get mad when these chalk plays get there. I mean, that's certainly one of the biggest takeaways. Is I had to say it today. Shout out to our big guy in the sky, DJN75. But you kind of said it too, Title, with what you just said in a different way. When you got these captains, and even if it is condensed, that it's 50-60% of the captain ownership is on 4 guys. He always said ownership is leverage. If you don't play Jordan Mason. Why not? Oh, he's 30%. I'm just going to fade his ass. All right, fade his ass. He's 30% for a reason. He looks pretty damn good on paper. You can play 60%. You can lock him in. You can do a lot of different things to make sure you've got leverage, yet people just want to move off situational stuff for, I'm just going to fade to fade. Like, you don't have to do any of that. So, Hoop, I'll kick it back to you, man. Your thoughts at captain. But like you said, it's pretty condensed for where most people are going, it would seem. And just got the notice right now, Zach Charbonnet expected to play, so just more official than what we were thinking anyway. But it looks good to go. Expected to play tonight.
Yeah, I'm probably likely to go the more condensed route. I haven't built any teams, but I struggle clicking some of these other guys' names in the captain. But a good point that Title did make. If you are going the cheap captain route, you have to operate under the assumption that nobody obviously goes off, where you're thinking everyone stays under 20. And I agree that could, I wouldn't be shocked if that happened in this game. It's just not something that I'm going to do. I'm going to, I guess, lean on these high volume guys like, JSN, McBride, Benson. I will say Kyler Murray is a guy that probably does get a decent bit of ownership by default, but I don't necessarily love Kyler Murray. Like, when's the last time Kyler Murray has gone off and nuked a slate? I mean, it's just a lot of 15, 16, 17 fantasy point games. He's probably my least favorite of the guys that I plan on playing up top. And then like Marvin Harrison Jr., like, what do you do there? Like, it's been bad. Like, no upside, dropping passes. He had 18 in week 1. And then 4 and 7 fantasy points in the weeks after. So I don't know. It's just, for me, the toughest part of the slate is definitely captain, because I just don't really love anyone all that much outside of like JSN and McBride. So it's definitely, regardless of what I do, it's going to be condensed up there for me. I'm not going to stretch it out to those cheap or mid-tier guys. I'm going to hope one of the big boys just fully gets there.
Yeah, I'm going to say this for sure. I mean, I'm disagreeing with Kenny again, because, I'm going on the title side of this one, but we love Kenny, so it's all love. But just to note it, like, I think Kyler's a phenomenal play tonight. I don't really care about the, all the, what are the chances? What have we seen? I really don't care about any of it, because all I care was tonight, one slate. And if Benson's going to be as owned as he is, Kyler can take that right from him away. And if he doesn't come in at like 12% in the captain or something, I think it's a great spot. Also, Benson, the backups, Harrison, Wilson, Dortch, McBride, dude can spread it out a ton and run with his legs. Definitely think that's a possibility. So he makes sense. And even on the other side, I'm going to harp on this. And last year was a pretty good success rate. Sam Darnold, all the same. You got multiple running backs he can throw it to. JSN, Cooper Kupp, Horton Here's a Who with Torrey in there. He got AJ Barner and backups at tight end. Like, these guys can spread it out a ton. And also, it could be a super low scoring game. So that 17-18, we just talked about who breaks 20. Well, usually quarterbacks are most likely to be that 17 to 20 range or break it. So I think it's fine. I like the other plays, probably better. Like you said, JSN and those guys, but everybody does. It's all baked in, like I kept talking about in the Discord today. So I do have interest in the quarterbacks here more than usual. And it looks like Darnold could be sub 10. And Kyler's going to be just over. We never see that. That's just so random to see in these types of spots, especially if we think it's going to be lower scoring. So I think they could be the ones that come through. Hoop, I don't know if you have any follow-up or title, but that's where I'd be at on this stuff, outside of the great points you guys both made on all the other options.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing Kyler. Darnold's a little tougher for me, just mainly because he just seems to focus so much on JSN. Now, maybe Horton or Barner, random guys can get there, but like, man, if it's just the concentrated target tree that we've seen with JSN, it feels like if Darnold goes for 280 and 2, JSN probably has like 130 of those, and with the full point PPR, he gets there more, but maybe not. I don't know. He'll be low owned. Like very rarely are you going to see a quarterback captain as low as Sam Darnold will be tonight.
Yeah, and the other thing definitely to consider when going with Kyler captain is no James Conner. And, they've been willing to just jam James Conner at the goal line or inside the 5. Like, are they willing to do that with Trey Benson? Probably not. So, I think you could get, some additional upside with Kyler at the goal line or around the goal line at the 5-yard line or, those sort of scenarios.
Yeah, I think it's a good, why I said earlier off the top, like I love this slate is just, I think there's leverage jobs. Also Marv Harrison at like 6%. What do you have? What are we on? Week 3, week 4? We're on week 4. Like I just will always play that and not worry about it too much. If he has another bad game, so be it. There's not many guys in this game that look like they can just break out and have a huge game. Hence the ownership being as high as it is on JSN and others. JSN looks phenomenal. Looks like a top 5 wide receiver in the league right now. So, and some of the good ones that are up there in the top haven't looked as good because of quarterback situations or things like that. So he looks even better, but everybody knows that. And that's why he is, like I said, you can get leverage through the ownership and he'll be in the pool, but I'm definitely going to be spreading it out on some of these other guys. Like if Marv actually comes in at like 6, I'll definitely be double that. Like that's for sure. Because if you could get a break, if he just gets loose for one, like big one, that could be massive. And then anything else he can pick up along the way. And he's kind of in between the Benson and McBride stuff and on the opposite side of JSN. So I'm thinking about all those things combined together. And then you can kind of fit whatever else you want in the lineup all the same anyway. So it's not really going to be that unique of a lineup besides the captain's different and it's built slightly whatever. And then a little bit of money left on the table. But Title, kick it back to you, man. If you don't have anything else, we can talk. You even hit on some of the Darnold stuff. So maybe take it into running back with Walker, Charbonnet, Benson, DeMercado, that type of stuff.
Yeah, the price difference between Walker and Charbonnet, 10-4 for Walker, the second highest on the slate, definitely feels like overpriced, especially when you look at the rushing props, 51.5 yards for Kenneth Walker, 39.5 for Charbonnet. And that's kind of like where I prefer Walker at captain. I like both at captain, but I prefer Walker in the captain than I do the flex because I either want him to fully get there, and him fully getting there feels like 2 rushing touchdowns, maybe 3 that way. But that's a big boy price in the flex. I prefer to take the 5K savings and just go Charbonnet. Again, that rushing prop is really similar for that much savings. So I think Charbonnet is a very strong play in the flex. Don't love Walker as much in the flex, prefer him captain. Trey Benson, he's now a starting running back. 8,800 is up there, but he can catch passes. Like he looks good. They talked preseason that they were going to start playing Benson more and eating into Connor to try and save him throughout the year. So I think he's ready for a big role. Props show that he's ready for a big role. Like DeMercado's rushing props only 13.5 yards. Benson's is the highest on the slate at 56.5. I like Trey Benson quite a bit. And then DeMercado, just a value play, 3,800, can catch a pass or 2 out of the backfield. If anything happens to Benson or he's tired, like you get a backup running back at 3,800. So you can definitely do worse than that. And we're only showing like 10% or something. That's pretty low ownership. So 11%. I like all 3 of the running backs. I'll play a lot of running backs today. Walker's my least favorite in the flex. But yeah, give me all 4 of them, and I'm not going to play anyone else.
Yeah, that's what's really, really interesting because that's definitely part of it. But that's all the conversation tonight. It's a lot of the ownership on the Arizona side, to say the least. And then you've got the conversation around like Walker versus Charbonnet versus the other stuff with DeMercado and Benson and all that. So it seems to be more of the conversation outside of JSN. I know we're not there yet. I'm going to let Hoop talk running back too. But once we get outside of JSN, there's not too much excitement or conversation at wide receiver. And then obviously at tight end, we got one tight end that everybody knows and plays weekly for good reason. Trey McBride's a stud. You can play him. He's come with some ownership too. But again, tons of ways to get different. So he's fine. It's just noting that, a lot of the conversation is just around the running backs. And we got the news early, Hoop. So kick it to you, man. What other thoughts do you have to add when it comes to running backs in this game? How long we let them go?
Not too much more to add. There's just not a ton of overall plays on the slate, which we'll get to when we get to like wide receiver and things like that. There's just not a ton of appealing plays. So you have 4 running backs that likely get some degree of work. So I think they're all in play. Benson likely the highest owned just because new role, no James Conner. He's going to be the main guy, and he's cheap. 8,800 seems low. Fine with him. DeMarcado I like a lot at 3,800. I think he's a fine value play. They're not going to let Benson go out there and play every single snap. DeMarcado is going to be out there. He probably gets the 2-minute work, which again at the price tag we always talk about these guys that can just get there in one drive. Like he's priced where he could get there if he picks up 3 catches, a few dump offs, and picks up some yardage. Like at 3,800, that's all you need. I think the most interesting talking point, though, when looking at the running backs, definitely Kenneth Walker. That clearly looks overpriced at 10-4. A guy that is now back to splitting carries with Charbonnet, but like the ownership, if it holds true, we're showing like around 20%. Like even if he's splitting carries, he has multiple touchdown upside, and no one wants to play him because of the price tag. I think Walker is an interesting play tonight. Everyone just gave up on him. He was the most popular running back on a full slate last week, and I get Charbonnet was out, and that's obvious why this scenario is different. But no one wants to play him because of the price tag. He has multiple touchdown upside. I think it's definitely what you do with Kenneth Walker is important on the slate. And then Charbonnet is fine at 5.4, probably looks pretty underpriced, where if you imagine that he's getting back to 50-50 split with Kenneth Walker, which is likely the case, maybe like a little less than 50% for him, but still at 5,400, solid price tag. So I guess long story short, all these guys are in play to some degree for me today.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. You guys covered it quite well, so I'll just move to wide receiver.
One thing I'll bring up for you to talk about, Tambo. DeMarcado, Dortch, Wilson, like all in that similar price range. We're showing Wilson clearly the highest owned, 23%, Dortch 14, DeMarcado 11. Like any thoughts on there? Like if you play Kyler, you're more likely to play the receivers. Like
I think so. Yeah, that's what I was going to lean to. So you're kind of exactly segueing it to it anyway, and I appreciate that because that's kind of what I was thinking. Is again, even though it looks like Wilson will have double his ownership or something like that. It just depends on how you're building out. But when I'm having Kyler up top, I'm definitely going to be mixing in these guys like Wilson. I loved your call on Dortch earlier. We know what he can do. And you were talking about him up top. He could definitely be in the flex if you can put him up top. So I like that about these guys. They're all in that similar price point though. So there's different ways that you can build with it. But I think both of them are interesting. And it's what you said. It's on both sides. On both sides of the running backs, I'll finish with this and move to wide receiver, is it's 5,000 less for the guy behind. So it's Kenneth Walker's 10-4. You can get Charbonnet for 54. Trey Benson's 88. DeMarcado's 38. Oh, but I think these guys are everything's baked in. The projection's there already. The ownership's there already. Like it's $5,000 off, and you have to decide. That's why it's $5,000 off. And in some cases, it's easier for others. Like some of the chat saying, I don't see how you would play Kenneth Walker at 10-4. And if they even go to running back, maybe they go to Charbonnet because he's cleared and good to go already. For the other side, people might say, well, I don't know if Benson's going to cover for Connor. Like on paper he is, but I don't know if that's going to really cover off the output that we would expect from him. I'll just save the cheese and go down to DeMarcado, and that's fine too. So there's tons of different ways you can play it, but I think wide receiver becomes a lot more interesting for me, particularly because two things. One, I'm playing quarterbacks up top. Two, I think all the focus is on the running backs, and it's very easy to see that being how the game starts out. Like, yeah, you want to get these running backs rolling against each other. You talked about a division game. But we are in Arizona. We can just see Marv Harrison Jr. take the top off earlier. JSN with the chalk version, the other way, take the top off early. And now it's go time. And now we start speeding it up. Now we see things get quick. And all the props and everything that people are looking at are for sure legit. And they look like we're in for a lower scoring game. But that's all baked in too. That's how it happens. And if you're playing for a different script, you don't put all your lineups towards this. But I could definitely see a spot here where we see them getting going early and back and forth. It's because of the negative approach of, Sam Darnold or the guys behind JSN suck or they're old or whatever else it might be, or Michael Wilson and Dortch are dust and they never do anything. We don't care about anything they've done to this point. All we care about is tonight. You got to play somebody to fill out your lineups. I think there's, Horton looks to be picking up more steam than what the ownership actually shows, but at least he's 5,800. So you are having to pay for it. If that's the case, I do feel like because of this time, actually, I'm going to stay with you, Tidal, because we're, talking back and forth on this, but I will say, because you're nodding at it, and I agree, like he's 58, but it's what I said earlier. There's so much salary to use. You just don't need it in these cases. You can find $5,000 on a running back from KW3 down to Charbonnet. Well, now you can easily get from Michael Wilson to Horton and still be looking to spend money. So what's your take on that? I saw you nod at the Horton stuff, but you mentioned Kupp earlier. You mentioned Dortch. Anything you have to add at wide receiver with all that said?
Yeah, you got me excited if he's going to get steam at 5,800 when I'm looking at his receiving prop at 26.5 yards. Like, I just drop me down to Dortch and save all the money. Drop me down to Wilson. Drop me down to DeMercado. Now, I'm not saying I hate him. Like, I'm not going to completely fade him. And I got to quit saying like that. I talk shit about Mark Andrews, absolute nuke. I talk shit about, like, I got to trust the process a little more than think I know more than all this stuff. But just looking at the price and the receiving prop, and if he's going to get a little steam, that definitely is something I don't love. Now, it is like this receiving room is gross. Like Hoop was talking about it. Only 2 guys are projected for over 50 receiving yards for props. JSN at 84.5 in a tier of his own. And then Trey McBride. So literally only 1 receiver. Marv's 48.5, 42.5 for Kupp, and then no one above 30. Dortch is definitely my favorite. And like no Zay Jones. Zay Jones is playing 50% of the snaps. The Cardinals play so many 3 receiver sets. Again, we've been playing DFS for a long time. Anytime Dortch has had a full role or a good role, I mean, Kyler likes him. He makes plays. He's shifty. So I'm going to play a good amount of Greg Dortch. We have him lower owned than Michael Wilson too. I like Wilson though as well. Like he's the bigger guy. He can get in the box. He can extend the play downfield a little bit. So I lean these Cardinals guys, and nothing bad to say about JS at all. Marv, Cooper, Kupp. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Like I said at captain, I'm so torn. 7,800, 7K for 48.5 receiving prop for 42.5. But again, if Marv gets 13 or Kupp, that's possible. It could be on the flex winner. Like I don't see this game being too high scoring. I prefer running backs over receivers. I do think Seattle's going to try and run the football like they've always wanted to do, slow down the game. And it's just so concentrated to JSN. I really don't love the secondary guys too much. Horton feels overpriced. Cooper Kupp, I'm very indifferent about. But Dortch is my guy today.
Yeah, I'm in the chat. A couple of the chatter with you. The Wilson spot is good as well. Hoop, where are you at with those two? And then some of the other spots at wide receiver. We're talking through Kupp, Horton, some of the backups, things like that. Is there anything else you've got to add there? But the Wilson Dortch thing is interesting at their price points versus the more expensive backups to JSN on the Seattle side.
Yeah, I really don't have much more to add on to what Title said, just because I am in full agreement with basically every single point. Like my favorite, JSN is in a different category. He doesn't even count for this conversation. Like when you're talking these wide receivers, he is in a tier of his own. And then there's maybe like he's tier 1, and then there's like tier 2, tier 3, and then maybe like Harrison and Kupp are in like tier 4. Like he's so far above all these other guys, like you don't even need to talk about him. You're playing him as much as you can. You're probably playing him in captain. He's a great play in any sort of lineup. So then it's like, what do you do with the rest of these guys? Again, I don't have much more to add on to what Title said, but I think this is just a perfect example where if you're building teams and people have the ability to play Marvin Harrison Jr. or Cooper Kupp in the lineup, they're just going to do it. Where you could save thousands and just drop down to Michael Wilson or Greg Dortch, who I think could easily outscore either of those guys. And then you have way less dupes at that point. So my favorite wide receivers outside of JSN, who again is in a tier of his own and we don't even need to talk about, is Wilson and Dortch. I like both of them. For me, it's probably Wilson over Dortch, but I'm going to have a lot of both. And like they're going to be substantially, maybe not substantially, but they're going to be much lower owned than Marvin Harrison Jr. and Cooper Kupp. So you get the better plays in my eyes at lower ownership, and you can get more unique by playing those guys. I think they're 2 of the best plays on the slate when you factor in price and situation, Michael Wilson and Dortch. Zay Jones is out, but the other guy that's out is James Conner. Do they pass it a little bit more with James Conner? Like that's very possible as well. So for me, everything is pointing towards those 2 being very good plays. Never going to have to worry about ownership. Yeah, they're going to get some because it's a showdown slate and everyone gets some, and they might get a little bit more. They might get steamed a little bit, but it's never to the point that you need to worry at all. So like Michael Wilson and Dortch, absolutely love. Horton, like people are going to see the touchdowns and want to play Horton as well over those other guys. Like give me Dortch and Wilson. Now again, I will have Horton in my player pool for sure, just because after these guys I just talked about, there's no like cheap wide receivers to play. You have basically like 6 guys that are in play at wide receiver and nothing else. So it really limits the overall number of options that we have. So I will play some Horton, but yeah, it's Wilson and Dortch for me at the top when you factor in price.
Yeah, one of the biggest things I can see tonight, and that's why like everyone's, oh, you got to pick one. Like you don't. First of all, you can build your lineups accordingly. But with the Wilson, like I think Wilson is the product of like a 30-yard catch and then maybe gets a touchdown later, bigger body in the end zone. They're covering McBride. It ends up being him versus Marv or something. Like that's the Wilson situation that I see. For the Dortch situation, the most interesting thing to me, and it's going to be very random, it would take a lot of luck, but that's a guy at that price on this type of slate, and he's lower owned. It's good. I see it's like a James Conner fill-in end around or something, like a sneaky play near the end zone, and Dortch takes it in there, and it's a 14-yard end around to the house or something like that. And that's how I see that shaking out. And it's tough to say which one would get there, but maybe both, maybe neither. But that's how I sort of see those playing out if we end up getting something like that. And that's why I said I don't mind Kyler up top because he wouldn't have anything to do with the end around. But if he gets one of those setups to Wilson, he gets another something going with McBride, Benson's in that, and they're doing something. And then you got the guys on the other side. You still have all the money in the world to get different. So I definitely favor the Arizona wide receiver side versus the Cups and the Hortons. I'm just going to save the money. JSN, like Hoop said, tier of his own. Don't have too much else to add on any of the backups there. I will when we get to this next section. But Hoop, I'm going to stay with you. Title, you have anything to add? Go ahead.
No, I don't. Unless like Dortch, you can also the double dip. He's the punt returner, kick returner. The Cardinals defense. If you already think low scoring game, Darnold's a statue.
How many freaking double dips have we seen in the history of DFS?
None.
For the amount it's been talked about, I swear.
That is a really good point, man.
But if I'm already playing a guy and then the defense is already relatively low owned on a game that could go lower, I'm not going to mention it, but hardly ever it feels like.
It is funny though. Like people like just have to stick to the same like talking points. Like they'll just continue to hammer that home. It really just never.
You're talking about me, but hey, if he doesn't,
no, I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about in general. Because then I just went back to the Green Bay guy that these guys continue just to stroke off every single week. And has he done anything yet?
Golden.
Has he done anything yet?
No. His snap counts went way up though. The time's coming, Hoop. The snap count, and he gets the Cowboys Sunday night football.
He's got the air yards too. All right, there we go.
Yeah,
it's easy now because you can talk about him on the showdown slate for sure. Like you can justify anyone. These guys on 12-game slates. Still just, it's relentless. I got to unfollow a lot of people because I'm starting to get very annoyed with some of these posts on there.
People still are giving his stock still went up, even though his week 3 earnings report came out with very negative numbers. The company is not doing well, but somehow the stock price still went up on that one. So it's just an interesting thing. And for the other thing, like the double dip, exactly, that's what you'll see is built into his stock price is the future value. But the double dip is like someone creating a category and then they have something to sell you, right? Like, oh, this is, like a category gets created and then they make something and you'll buy it because you heard that category is good. There's not really ever been anything that you should be buying when it comes to double dips. It's happened very rarely across my at least experience playing DFS. So if you build,
I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I was talking about Golden. I'm a money fan over a Packer fan, and I'm not even a Jordan Love guy. I think the worst pick they made was taking Love after Rodgers got him to back-to-back NFC championships. So, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. They're 2-1 though. They're a good football team, but I don't know where I got that slander.
Yeah, that was he didn't say anything along those lines whatsoever.
Yeah,
they looked terrible last week.
Man, Jimmy's always in here supporting. I appreciate it. We don't know. Yeah, like again, you saw his 2 touchdowns, so you're like, oh, he overtook him. What do we know what that actually looks like as the season goes on?
They play a different role.
I mean, then it's easy, and you can just. You just play him a lot because he's not going to be super highly owned. I mean, so you just play Horton and you might have an advantage. If you have that read, it could be right. Honestly, it could be right. So play him higher than the field. And then you have yourself a decent little advantage. That could be the case. I mean, for sure. I mean, last 2 weeks, he's go at 5 targets, 4 targets, 2 touchdowns. He could be the number 2 there. There's no doubt.
Yeah. That's how I think about it. Again, like I said, a lot of people watch the highlights more than watch the tape. Not saying Jimmy, he's always here grinding it out with us. We appreciate it. I'm just saying in general, when people look at that stuff, it is going to be often where, somebody overtook someone after just 3 weeks of tape or just 3 weeks of highlights or whatever it might be. So we got to really tone it down. I think, we always talk about like week 6, week 7, you start to get a lot more. And I know it sucks because it's only a 17 to 18 week season, however you want to look at week 18, if you're counting it or not, because it's such a disaster. But that's the tricky part with DFS. And if you have a stand, like Hoop said, definitely take it now because now's the time to make it happen and work it in your favor. So hopefully that goes well for Jimmy and the other Horton lovers here tonight. But let's keep it moving. Let's go to tight end, Hoop. I'm going to go back to you. We know what McBride is, but there's some other stuff going on this slate. The chat was talking about Tip Ryman, AJ Barner on the other side. What are you thinking here at tight end?
Well, I mean, you have one that is clearly, one of the best plays on the slate, captain, however you want to do it. Trey McBride, just a volume beast, totally in play here. And then you have a bunch of fringe, maybe I like them sort of plays at the position. Like nothing stands out. You got Barner at 2,800. Sure, you can play him. Tip Ryman, if you want to play him, 2,000. Arroyo at 800. Elijah Higgins at 1,600. Like, sure. And like all those guys outside of McBride on the Arizona side, definitely guys to mix in if you're playing a lot of Kyler captain. But like if I had a strong read on these other guys, if I told you I had a strong read on all these other guys, I'd be lying to you. I'm going to put them in and see how much I get. And as long as I don't get a crazy amount, I'll just let it roll. Like I just don't have a strong lean on any of them. They're all cheap. If they find the end zone, they're probably on optimal because, we might be anticipating like a lower scoring game. No strong takes here, but I'll keep them in the player pool and whatever I get with them as long as it's not like a crazy amount. I don't want to play 30% of any of these shitty tight ends. Obviously McBride, I want a ton, but the rest, whatever I get.
Title, you got anything to add at tight end? I mean, obviously the McBride stuff's quite simple, but after that, I guess it's the other guys are all really cheap. And the main thing that stood out to me is they're all a lot cheaper than the wide receivers, even less than the Michael Wilson and Dortch conversation we just had. So thoughts at tight end for you?
Yeah, they're like the only viable players below Dortch. Barner 2.8, Tip Ryman 2K, Elijah Higgins 1.6, and Arroyo 800. Like I don't see anyone else even close to viable to click a name down there. So I guess it goes both ways. Like, are they going to be over-owned in quotes just because if people want a dumpster dive, like they're forced to click on one of them? I don't know. I prefer, obviously I'm not talking McBride. He's in a tier of his own. I definitely prefer the Barner Arroyo stuff because they're at least tight end 1 and 2. They rotate. Whereas, and then I definitely prefer, what's his name? Ryman over Higgins. He outsnapped him like 3-1 last week. These guys are really, like, I'm looking at the TD props, Barner plus 600, which is fine. Arroyo plus 1,000, Ryman plus 1,300, Higgins plus 1,600. Like, it feels like, especially a game where I don't think we see multiple 20-plus scores up top, it feels like these guys have to fall in the box to get there. So I really don't love it.
Arroyo looks go ahead.
That's got to be the biggest robbery in sports betting. Like those numbers are insane, like absolutely insane. Like if someone sat down and figured out the math, how much money they're making on those touchdown props, I mean, I would probably puke. And
then people parlay them all together.
Yeah. And then the parlays, and that's got to be like the favorite parlay for people. They're sitting there watching Red Zone. Let me just, pile up a bunch of touchdowns, see if they hit. And they're not going to hit. And the sports book is just printing off these things.
That's why they don't give you a free $1,000 to sign up for nothing, baby. Let's get those TD parlays. That's already the worst odds. Let's get you to put 7 of them together and post your TikTok on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. So what I was going to say is this. Ross brought this up. Everyone's getting, like, Kenny's obviously all over this stuff, getting to it now. Arroyo looks like a beast. He's just – here's the difference. He doesn't cost Matthew Golden money, and people are done talking about him now. They were talking about him coming into the season. He's $800. Like, he will land in my lineups. Like, that's just fine. I'm not saying lock him in or go shove him in your single entry. Play your own way. I'm just telling you that's someone I have interest in on this slate, just because if you're not as high on paying $5,800 or $7K for Kupp and Horton, and you don't want to figure out who it is between 34, 32, not to mention you can play them together, whatever you end up deciding on or landing on due to your optimizer and your projections and ownership set that you're using, which I'll go on another rant in a minute. But just to note, I like that side. We like McBride. Barner's fine. He's 28. He's just as fine. But if I leave $2,000 on the table and drop Barner to Arroyo tonight, I'm fine with that too. It's the same. I mean, when they get down to that end zone, if they do, and it's Darnold throwing it there, it could definitely be Arroyo. His snaps have been going up, like Kenny said. So they also run a lot more 12 personnel on the Seahawks as it is. So that's another note just to make. And again, early in the season, it's been a thing for a little bit longer than usual. And then bringing in other coordinators and things like that, things change over time. But I definitely think Arroyo's interesting on this slate. McBride, the clear option there if you're looking at just having to pick a tight end, but you don't. You can play no tight ends in your lineup as well. So Hoop, kickers, D's, anything you want to add with that stuff?
Just the usual, and love the kickers and like the defenses. What are the prices on the defense? Let me see.
Kickers are back down to like reasonable 48.5, and the D's are just less.
Yeah, D's are 44 and then 4K flat. Yeah, I mean, typically underweight on defenses, probably the same tonight. And then I'm good with either of these kickers. I think it's totally fine. Where is this game in Arizona? I guess I should know that. Yeah, it's in Arizona, so don't have to deal with any potential weather or anything. So I think it's a good spot for kickers. And then defense, whatever gets in there, I'll be underweight on defenses.
Yeah. Title, anything you want to add to that stuff? We're cruising through here, but I got a mini I want people to learn a little bit too on these shows and try and get them the best help we can to make them, play better at DFS. But you got any thoughts on kickers and Ds?
I think I'm going to be overweight on all four. I mean, Kyler, I'm surprised Hoop's not going to load some Seahawks D against a guy that can run backwards and pitter patter and do whatever. So I can totally see that. I can see both offenses stalling for field goals, and Sam Darnold's a statue. I mean, do people forget what was it? Was it the playoff game last year? Was it like week 18 where he let up like 9 sacks or something? Like
seeing the ghost. He was back to the ghost.
I mean, they can totally see, again, division game, short week, like ownership's under 20%. If I think it's a low scoring game and I don't love everything else, I think I'll be overweight on all four of these.
The only problem with the defenses, and not the only problem, but curious to hear what you say on this, because you're with me where you love Wilson and Dortch. They're right there in that range. Like if you have a lot of them, are you going to end up with a lot of defenses in there too? Which you can obviously play them. You can play them all together for sure.
Yeah, maybe then I just ignore the Arroyos, the Barners, maybe drop down from the Cooper Cup that way. If I go Dortch, again, I said the Cardinal stuff. If I already like it and can make a case, maybe I give a little boost there. I think SaberSim has that correlation probably in there a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to plenty of ways to leave money, but I'm fine playing all of them in that range. You said that you could see Dortch and Wilson outscore Marv, period. Yeah. So you can definitely do it that way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I also think there's going to be some double kicker lineups tonight.
And Horton too. I didn't miss that. The punt return. Yeah, Horton, Seattle defense. There's a little correlation right there too.
We're back.
We're back, baby. 2 guys that are in play. Come on.
So wait, can we double dip the double dip?
Don't do
Just
it.
Play all 4. Play all 4. Right? Play Dortch,
all the money.
Horton, both defenses. And what's the correlation with that? If you double dip the double dip, who would you play with that?
I don't know, but
running backs and just hope that it's all that.
The best part of it all is we just roll anything with the dips, and the guy's name is Tori, not Tim, and we just slam Tim Horton into the lineup. That's from Canada, baby. The Tim Hortons coffee that everybody loves to drink. This guy put Tim Horton in the lineup. So
double dip with both kickers. All right. And then we got to just who's the captain? It would probably have to be one of the defenses. You have to put one of the defenses up there.
We just allowed people to literally $300-400 just got spent as we speak. People hand building this out into the tournament. So
it would cost you like $5,000 total for that lineup. Double dip the double dip with both kickers, and you have like $45,000 still to spend. Yeah, 10K.
People love it, man. Tim Hortons is the thing up here. Timmy Hose, they call it. It's
what is it?
Spot. It's Tim Hortons coffee and donuts and everything like that. It's like it was the main.
That's literally every mile here. I mean, just because we're close to Canada, but I'm sure it's a little different than the Canada version.
Yeah, they're raking it in. So, all right. I guess I'm going to go on my quick rant for 2 seconds. I just want to call this out because it came up in our Discord today. It's a good conversation. Everyone knows we've partnered with SaberSim. It's the best optimizer, in our opinion, across the entire industry. We're biased, but we definitely think that is the case. So that's a nice thing about signing up for SHIPIT Nation is you get SaberSim with your membership, depending on the plan that you choose. But it's usually like $10, $30, depending on the all access versus NFL only. But I will say, the inputs still matter. I've had this conversation enough times with people, so I want to just display it with a quick analogy. SaberSim is a Ferrari. So first of all, step number 1, if you get gifted a Ferrari or if you somehow can afford one and buy it, probably don't just drive it into a wall on day 1 if you don't know how to drive it. So you got to learn it a little bit. There's some steps to it. We have a ton of videos on the site. There's members only Saber series videos. If you go to SaberSim at the top corner of our site, you'll see tutorials, live Q&A, and then we have a full SaberSim channel in our chat where you guys can learn how to use this tool and get better at it. But I do see a lot of this, and it's like Saber loves Marv. Saber wants me to do this. Saber is a car with a GPS in it. You can program it to tell you where you want it to go. I'm thinking about a joke now, but the Tesla thing where Buddy jumps in his Tesla, says, take me somewhere I've never been. And it drives dude right to the gym, and he's a bit bigger dude. And it's like, yeah, you never go here. Why don't I take you to the gym and see if you can lose some pounds? But I'm just saying, when you're filling it out, like the benefit of having our projections, our ownership, the stone, like the reason you see, if anybody who follows us or people that maybe have been a part of this in our PGA Showdown success, Hoop has harped on this for years now. Other sites are literally not adjusting anything with their ownership, the wave advantages, any of that stuff. That matters for what you're getting. That's your inputs. And then SaberSim really does an amazing job of helping us all with our outputs. But it's not they did this. It's whatever you inputted. When Sheets loads it up and says, I'm putting my custom projections and inputs in. I talked about this on the Takedown Breakdown the other day, and he'll tell you the same thing. That's all his hard work. All those projections and ownership that he's back tested to create his own stuff with mixing in SHIPIT Nation. He's been in our Discord plenty of times, Title, in the MMA one, saying, tested you guys again for MMA ownership, best in the industry. That's part of the recipe that he's cooking up and then using it. So that's the key, is you want to make sure you're taking the stone, taking the projections and ownership and bringing those across and then letting it drive for you, right? That's your GPS. So I always bring that stuff up to try and help you guys. I just want everybody to know what's going on with what they're using. It's the mix of the two together that makes the best recipe. So hopefully that helps. Hoop, anything you want to add? And then if not, we're going to get to FanDuel.
Yeah, I mean, the inputs are just as important as the outputs, if that makes sense. Garbage in, garbage out, I believe is the saying. So, I mean, you can't just throw random numbers. You know, if you went into SaberSim and just put a bunch of random numbers in there and then hit, run, you're going to get garbage that comes out. So it's a two-part story where you need the inputs to be strong, and then the outputs will be strong as well. So it's not just a one-sided street, and that's why it's important to have both sides of it. Obviously the Saber tool we feel is the best in the industry, but the inputs that go along with it are just as important.
And it gets trickier too, but it is more important actually when you do get up to the ultimate package. We know that's not for everybody, but just for those that know, if you don't know now, when you're using the ultimate package and you're using field lineups to use contest sims against, the more accurate your ownership is, the more accurate everything's going to be. It's super important. And that's why you see a lot of the same pros at the top of these contests and tournaments, because they've finagled stuff to be where they've back tested it enough and they have the best stuff going in. That makes their outputs that much better. And therefore that's what puts them in a position. Everybody's capable of doing it. You got to put in the work. So we've got the golden SHIPIT number 12 head-to-head coming up. I do have Title mentioned earlier about his Mark Andrews conversation the other night and how it turned out. There is like a chocolate double dip donut that's really famous at Tim Hortons. So I can just see that getting posted everywhere tonight when we've talked all this stuff about the double dip and it finally hits now after everything that we just made fun of. But yeah, let me get the first winner. We'll do the first one and save the second one. This is going to be who goes up against Hoop. Right now, 3-0 Hoopster. The winner of Golden SHIPIT number 12 of 50. There's still tons available. You can join now and you still get in SHIPIT games. You just got to be a member. The winner of Golden SHIPIT number 12 facing off against Hoop this week in the head-to-head to take on his 3-0 record is Jason Reentz. Pay the rent. Get your Reentz. Let's go. Here we go. We got number 12 of 50. Congrats to Jason Hoopster. What do you got to say? This is your challenger versus the champion.
Hey, I will say you should be happy that I'm 3-0. Saving the both of you guys should be happy. I'm saving the company some money there by these guys come up, slap them right back down, $250 back in our pocket. So I mean, it's beneficial for SHIPIT Nation for Hoop to continue this.
I'm cheering for Reentz this week. I think it's 3-1.
Oh, so this week. You're gonna pay the $250 out of pocket. It sounds like you're ready for that of it.
I'm cheering for your Reentz.
Yeah,
I will say though, the easiest victory was fucking Nades, man. That was super. I mean, just literally 10 seconds, boom, boom, boom. Put zero effort. Like last couple weeks, I put some time into it, but week one it was 10 seconds. Nades beat his ass.
Oh man, like the title situation. I just follow these things. I don't want to comment on them until I see them play out. You guys know I always like to see it play out. Like I told Ty, I was following. I don't want to give any props. I know some Discords already posted the damn screenshot. We're like, don't do that. Luckily, he was flying, so he wouldn't be pissed off about it till he knew later. But either way, Nades was beating you. Actually, he starts talking that shit in Discord, which is the best place to be. And then he goes, if this guy's all he's got left, bang, it was like a 30-yard. Whoever it was, I forget who it was.
Game. Court, I think it was Sutton.
It was like a 30-yard catch, just like that. Bang, just put him right to sleep immediately. And I think he was blocked at that point. It was like, good night.
Yeah.
Thanks. So it was
Thanks
close.
for playing, Nades. Thanks for
Nades, you've been playing long enough. The early victory lap, the early this, that'll never. That's how the world works.
My man Aaron, I love when the chat's hopping onto the one-liners with us. This is what we love to do. Is has a chance to live Reents free in Hoop's mind if he wants. If he wins, that's awesome. Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a quality message.
Didn't lose sleep over it. He said.
You definitely did. He was devastated. Yeah, it's so funny. The best thing about that whole back and forth with Nades, I was like, I got the win. I was like, and this is the honest God truth. I built the lineup in about 10 seconds. Boom, 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 boom. Got the W, and like Nade's response so predictable. Oh, I was on the shitter and built the team, man. I put zero effort into it. Like, no, like once I tell you it took me 10 seconds to build the team, your rebuttal cannot be that you put zero effort into it. Like that's just like you can't do it.
I think it was like there's something about Mary when he's talking about the 7-minute abs, and the guy goes, no, not 6-minute abs.
Yeah.
7. Like he's trying. You said 10 seconds. He was like, mine was 9 seconds. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like you
9-second lineup, like 10-second.
You lose that talking point. As soon as I said it took 10 seconds to build my team, like you can't come back as your rebuttal that you built it on the shitter. Like you lose the ability for that to be your argument.
Nades, Rio, the rest of the Discord. I'm waking up every morning to these freaking MLB screenshots. So I will say that it's incredible to see that.
And G Ryzen, shout out G Ryzen on
FanDuel. Yeah,
won the Grand Slam like 7 or 9 times this year. He told me that's insane.
It's pretty wild. And last year he won the $100 single entry 5 times, and 3 of them like in pretty close proximity. The guy just crushes when it comes to that. So yeah, we're in on Nades, man. We love big Nades.
Me and Nades been talking. We were texting last night, texting today. Like our guy got screwed last night on both our people got screwed last night on AGT. Did you watch Title? Did you watch those videos though?
No, but my mom had because I'm at my mom's right now. She had America's Got Talent on, and I came down, and then I asked if she saw that guy, and she said, "Yeah, it was her first time, and they were really good."
Yeah, you got to watch a couple of the videos. They're very, very good.
On this because I was out on it the whole way, so I knew once you. So I was in on Jordan Blue, this guy, whatever.
Yeah, that's who Nades. That's who Nades wanted. Yeah.
Anyway, this guy's a killer for sure. But what he picked the freaking K-pop Demon Hunter song last night, the worst song. The guy's like a gutter dude, like out in the streets of wherever. I think he's in New Orleans or something like that, and he's doing like he's got the craziest tones and lifts to his voice. You can watch all the YouTube videos on him before he got on this show. His intro one went viral, and then he was amazing. But I will say that song choice last night was terrible for him. Like
when you're singing in those sort of competitions, like everyone knows you're good. Everyone knows you have a good voice. Like the song choice is the most important part. I agree. Like I thought it was a bad selection, but I think that. I just got into it a little bit because I saw that dude and I wanted to see if he won. But the girl that won just had a story that seemed unbeatable.
I thought they did let you pick your song. That's why
I thought so too. Yeah,
I thought you got to pick your stuff because he opened with like his best song ever. That was the Break Even one or whatever that he just crushes with. But then Nick said, "Can I get a stone for America's Got Talent?" Your boy though with the lightning round started slow, but I will say what was crazy is he missed one. They took it off the board. He put that into his wrap to get it back up on the board, closed it out, and then started picking up speed as it goes on. That was pretty incredible stuff.
His YouTube videos are really good because it's a little more edgy, I guess you could say, like at a comedy club. So like the first one I saw was like a group of women and they chose the word titties. So he's rapping about like titties the whole time.
Yeah,
it was funny.
Did you listen to the Harry Mack one too?
Yeah, I think this other
guy's better.
Like, I think he's way better. Yeah,
I think he's like an awkward dude though, right? Because he's like an English guy with like a freaking. He looks like he got the Dumb and Dumber bowl cut.
Yes, he got the worst haircut.
Like man, I'll do this. Like okay, like what the hell? This is nuts. He said, "Y'all watch TV that you can't gamble on. What's your problem?" That's funny. I rarely do. I just had to throw this up on last night because Nades was in the Discord and said something about the AGT finale. You gotta go watch this and. Whatever, and I was like, I got to go check this out then and see if it's on. But it's not often I'm watching too much of the TV. But do we have any final FanDuel thoughts you guys want? I know you kind of hinted at it throughout the show. Hoop, you mentioned a few different price point spots, but anything that stands out like a sore thumb?
Yeah, there's a couple that stood out, just going like top to bottom. JSN still more expensive than the quarterbacks over there, where it's going to take him more to be the optimal MVP. So he's 13,000. Then Kyler and Darnold. Kyler's 20 or 12.6, and Darnold's 12K. So a little bit there. Kenneth Walker's right up there with those guys, 11.6. Marvin Harrison's pretty expensive, 9,800. He's more expensive than like Trey Benson. Come down a little bit, the cheap guys. One that definitely stands out is we like Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch. Title will be excited to hear this. Dortch $2,000 cheaper than Michael Wilson. Michael Wilson 5K, Dortch 3K. So quite a big difference there. That's kind of about it. That in terms of like what stands out, the cheap plays aren't as cheap. Who's the $800? Arroyo's 800 right on DK. 2,600 on FanDuel. So he's right there, basically same price as Dortch. So it makes it a little more difficult, but that's kind of what stands out over there.
Yeah, and I bet, Scooter's the man. He's always posting the bet tickets. I know he's got a big Scotty bet this week in the Discord with Ryder Cup back. We got you covered. We do have a stone, by the way, for Ryder Cup. This is a huge week. If you're not involved with SHIPIT Nation, UFC's back. We've got the Ryder Cup, and most places don't even have projections or a stone or anything like that put together for you. So if you want to see how the team shake out and setting up your lineups that way, obviously we just talked about MLB just crushing it daily, but with all the NFL stuff, the international game, international series, I should say, kicks off starting this Sunday. So there'll be a morning game with that. There's a ton of really good DFS coming up, NASCAR, etc., all included with the SHIPIT Nation memberships. And if you get the starter plan right now, you don't have to put in a code. You just click the link. Instead of $139, you get your first month for $97. That's the same price as SaberSim.com to try out your first month with us, and then you'll see what we're all about. So you can definitely check that out. But Scooter says this, I think there is prediction markets for America's Got Talent. That I don't know how much you can get down on it, but it feels like these days with some of these markets title, you can get down a little bit more cash.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many plays. If you want to get money on something, you pretty much can nowadays. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it's going to be a good weekend for sure here. After staying up Saturday to watch MMA, you can get over on Sunday, watch the Ryder Cup finish out. You got the football stuff all starting early morning. It's going to be a really good week for sports here. Title, any FanDuel thoughts you had to add there at all?
Not really. Hoop covered it pretty well. I mean, it's just the best time for sports. I mean, I think 9 weeks for MMA, NASCAR, college football. We didn't even say that, but prizes are always good. Just team absolutely crushes. Like the Stone's good in all sports. That Stone in college football, for knowing zero names and so many players and this and that, it is absolutely money. I've dabbled a little bit. So yeah, NFL 2 games on Monday. We have the London game Sunday morning when we're on the show. Like there's zero better time to be a DFS fan. I couldn't imagine not having a site, projections, ownership, a community to be with during the ride. It makes the ups more fun. It makes the downs a little more bearable as well. So no, nothing really. Hoop covered FanDuel well. Hopefully we get to the top tonight.
Yeah. Hoop, final thoughts from you before we get out of here?
Yeah, close call. Last game, obviously, with title being there, but let's get back up there and finish it off. I mean, that's the thing about Showdown, man. It's not over until that clock says 0. I mean, one little shitty.
Not even the clock's over. You better go 15 minutes or something after.
Yeah,
stat corrections. And Malik Washington, like it went from a reception to a run. I don't know if it changed the top, but you just never know.
Yeah, it's a painful sweat all the way through, but like so we got all our content going up. We'll be up nice and early so you can digest it, get in the Discord. We'll be talking up to lock. So let's get some of those SHIPIT Nation logos to the top.
All right, we got the last winner for everybody who waited around. Again, do us a favor on the way out, smash the like, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We're almost at 11,000 subscribers, so we're going to keep growing it. The drive for 15 is on now. We're trying to get there, but Golden SHIPIT number 13 winner. This is the Share a Ship that we'll build a lineup in the 333 with 250K up top this week. It would be 25K. If we ship it, it would be an additional 125,000 to the already 79,000 plus prize pool. That is 50,000 plus cash, 29,000 plus in prizes right now. So just keep that in mind. A lot of money, a lot of cheese, as our boy Title likes to say up top. So the winner, Golden SHIPIT number 13, Peter Clark, the most standardized name we've had win a ticket all season, I think, just straight up. Peter Clark has got the job done. So Peter Clark, we'll be reaching out to you. We'll shoot you an email, get you added in Discord, and be good to go. Congrats to Peter. And then everybody that's, if you haven't checked your email yet and you're a SHIPIT Nation member, make sure you do so, even the junk mail, to look for that golden shipper. I think there's only about 105 people of the potential 199 right now. So I think that's going to be good. Other than that, that's all we got, guys. Let's have some fun tonight. For Hoop, for Title, for myself, ToeTagginTambo. Let's ship it.